Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marina, I'm a portrait and music photographer in Seattle. On this channel, I talk all things analog and documenting my film photography adventures. So far, I have over 40 videos here and none of them is about Cinestill 800T. This film is not new to me, I have shot a lot of it, especially in 120 format. I did a bunch of different things with it, and for some reason there's no video about it, so today I'm about to fix it. Cinestill 800T is 800 speed color film that is tungsten balanced, which means this film is more suitable for shooting under warmer lights. What makes this film unique is it produces halation around the light sources if shooting directly into the light. That's why this film is extremely popular for night photography, for example. I've shot this film quite a lot in medium format and normally I would either push it or shoot it at box speed. But for this shoot I decided to experiment and shot both of the rolls in daylight. Specifically it was golden hour into dusk. Both of them I metered at ISO 400. For the camera I've used Hasselblad 500 cm. As far as settings, the aperture was either f4 or f5.6. I do avoid shooting wide open because it makes it very hard to nail that focus, so yeah, I guess I'm cheating. Most of these images I have shot with my strobe. I use Godox AD300. Since Cinestill 800T is tungsten balanced film, which means if this film is shot in daylight, it most likely will produce images with blue tint, so to avoid it I used 85B filter on my lens and I used this filter for both rolls. Now one can ask, why would you use tungsten balanced film with warming filter in the daylight if you could just use Portra 800? That is a very good question and the answer is because I wanted so. Let's say I did it for the sake of experiment and I definitely do not regret it. I really like Cinestill 800T. I think this is extremely versatile film. I absolutely like Portra 800, but sometimes it's not available, but there would be Cinestill, so I think it's just nice to have options. Huge thanks to my model Jade. Every time we shoot in the best locations with the best light and we come up with very cool photos all the time. Initially we were planning to shoot in this flower field, but when I arrived to the location, Jade has found a couple of abandoned houses nearby and the light there was so pretty. We decided to shoot there first and then we moved to the flower field. That was a great decision because we ended up with a bunch of different images that looked like were shot in completely different locations. So the first roll of film we have shot at golden hour, and most of these images were shot with a natural light. But when we moved to the flower field, the sun was starting to go down pretty quickly, so I decided to use a flash, and it actually was a very smart decision. I really like these photos. As you can see, it's not overpowering anything, it just adds a little bit of light on Jade's face and makes the image more pleasant in my opinion. So after I finished this roll, the sun went down completely, but there was still some light left in the sky and it was nice and blue. Blue hour is definitely my favorite time of the day to shoot. Yes, I do need to bring extra lights when I shoot in blue hour. So couple of last shots on the roll, I decided to experiment with a longer exposure, and this image right here is my absolute favorite. I'm gonna try to make a print out of it. To me, it looks like a painting, and the colors, the subject, the movement, and the whole mood of this image. For the images like that, I would lower my shutter to 1/8 or 1/4 of a second. I believe this was shot at 1/8 of a second. Aperture was f4 or f5.6. It was definitely not wide open. So what I did, first I focused, and then I asked my model to move around, and I just pressed shutter button when I felt like that was a perfect composition for the photo, and that's how I got this shot. This is just something that you have to experiment with, play around with how fast or slow the movement of your subject is, or how fast or slow your shutter speed is. Things like this usually are one of a kind, and it's impossible to replicate those because there are way too many variables that made that shot happen. So these were my experiments with Cinestill 800T shot in daylight. I don't think that warming filter was absolutely necessary for my second roll of this film that I've shot during dusk with color light, but I think it didn't hurt either, so I just didn't bother to remove the filter from my lens. I did have a few comments from people that said why you are so bothered with correct white balance if you can just fix it in post. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work that way. I have very strong opinion about it. That's just how I do it, and that works for me. If skin tone is involved and I want consistency and nice flattering colors, it's just so much easier for me to get the correct white balance in camera, even when shooting in digital. Let me know in the comments if you have any experience using Cinestill 800T in daylight and what are your thoughts. I personally think this is very versatile film stock, especially if you can use warming filter and transform the tungsten balanced film into daylight balanced film. I think that's a great option. Considering film prices as of now, Cinestill 800T is $1 less than Portra 800, so that's that. And thanks for watching this video, and see you in another one.